Hello and welcome back to Black Dice Gaming. I'm James and today we're looking at painting up this dragon. This is Thos the Young Dragon from Archon Studios. So let's get straight into it. So we've done the slapshot undercoat, which was black, dry brush grey, dry brush white, and the first colour we're using here is Guilliman's Flesh. I'm going to be using that on all the fleshy parts of the wing membranes. It's a little dark, so make sure you're, especially if you're not heavy enough with the white undercoat, I give it a little bit extra white, especially on the wing membranes there, just to make sure that it's going to cover slightly lighter than it did on my dragon. If you saw my giant, if you saw that video, you could notice that the skin tones in that were a little bit darker than I anticipated. So I've just gone heavier on the white. So get all those membranes done, and while that's drying, I start work on the base. I have kept it in two parts, just for ease of painting. And basically what I'm doing here is just painting the stonework in Basilicanum Grey. So just using that Basilicanum Grey as a base coat for all the stone. And did my usual technique of dropping the miniature as I'm painting it. Pretty much do that in all my videos, I think. I might have to go back and have a look, see how many I actually do drop. But I think the percentage would probably be quite high. So there's plenty of stone on this, just make sure that you give it a good coat. Trying to be careful, you don't particularly want it in it. No, there you go, another drop. So moving on to the second colour. Now for this I used Basilicanum Grey, but I diluted it 2 parts contrast medium. So 1 part Basilicanum, 2 parts contrast medium. And what I'm doing here is just creating a very light grey colour for the horns, the stone, the hornwork. And there's some like chest plates underneath him. I think I'll show you that exactly what I mean in a second. But the horns on its head, he has a bit of an armour plating, and some armour plating on his chest. I'm sure I'm going to get that in just a second, but until then I can't quite explain what I mean. There we go. So all this underbelly type. I painted this in that mixture of 1 part Basilicanum, 2 parts contrast medium. It's just to sort of lighten the colour really, because Basilicanum's a little dark, I'm finding. It's requiring a dry brush to make it much lighter. And the whole idea of doing it with a slapshot technique is that it's quick. So just making this little mix-up gives us a completely different colour. But it does exactly what I want it to do, not be that dark grey. Be a much lighter grey colour. I might start doing this a little bit more often, just mixing it with that contrast medium. It's the first time I've sort of messed around with that sort of technique, and I really like the colour of the this plate. I'm also painting its its spikes and its talons in this colour as well. So all of the spikes on the wings and his talons on his claws, they all get a coat in that colour. Now moving on to the gold coins on the base. For that I'm using Guyana's gold. Just coating all the coins. Now as always, for some reason I didn't record myself when I did this. It's a little bit of a habit of mine. But I also then went ahead. Oh, be careful, there's actually a toe there of the dragon, which I've not done in the mixture, so I'm gonna have to come back and do that at some point. But yeah, I don't film myself when I do the Agrax Earthshade wash. Don't know why that is, but I seem to miss it on pretty much every video that I do. So there are some common denominators with these videos. Somewhere I drop something and I always miss out the Agrax Earthshade wash. But I do go ahead and do that. There's quite a few little coins on the base, quite a few clumps of big coins on the base. Moving on, just doing a little dry brush now, and we really are just catching those edges with this, and I'm using Kislev Flesh just to make them slightly lighter still. I really like the effect that it gives doing this little dry brush technique. They're very textured, so it's going to pick up on all those edges, and it's going to look absolutely wonderful when you do it. Just do it until you're happy. You don't have to do it. If you're happy anyway, you can just miss that point out. And this, I'm just colouring the chest in Wildwood. Very simple process here. Nothing too complicated about this. Just be careful not to get it on the gold. I think at this point I've already done the Agrix Earth Shade, but I'm not entirely sure. I think I have. And that's the chest done. I also picked out the ruby there as well in Emerald, Adari Emerald I think it is. Moving on now to the painstaking part of doing all the flesh. For that I used Blood Angels Red. It's probably my go-to red for most things. It's a lovely rich red colour, and literally there is so much to do in the skin of this creature. Obviously just being a little bit careful now. A lot of it's going to meet up with things that we've already finished, so you just need to be careful along those lines. And although it's not attached to the base, I do still paint the bits that, sorry, a little sneeze there because I've got my little dog sat on my knee as I'm doing the voiceover. Just trying to keep her occupied so she doesn't start barking. But there's plenty to do in the red, so just crack on. I think I did it in about 2 or 3 stages because I get a little bit bored of doing the same colour. So I do a little bit, make sure that a section's done, and then move, and then have a break for a little bit, and then come back and do a little bit more. At the moment I'm doing painting on one of my kitchen worktops. Has a really nice natural light that comes through during the day. So I've been painting there. I've not been having a lot of time to do it on an evening at my desk. But yeah, so as you can see, this is my kitchen worktop. Don't tell the missus. I also paint the spikes in at the same time, so that you see those spikes on the sort of frill on its back. I paint those in the red as well. The box art shows them in the same colour as the horns and things, but I think the contrast of the red against the flesh colour works really well, so I just went ahead and did them in the red colour. There you go, magic, it's all done. So what we're doing now is just putting on a skeleton horde on the little spiky bits that it has on the end of the tail, on the side of its face, and on the ends of its elbows. It has these little spikes that come out, and I'm just doing skeleton horde on those just to get them coloured in. And that's it. I think at this point I've actually glued it to the base. That's how confident I was that I wasn't going to mess up and get some paint on the base at this point. But yeah, that pretty much wraps it up, I think. Yeah, a few little spikes on its ankles as well, which you can just see on camera there. Making sure I'm getting both sides. I'm using my diluted skeleton horde here, actually 50-50 with contrast medium. And then she's in all the glory on my Archon Studios shelf, which is running out of room. He's actually stood right in front of the ghost dragon there, hiding the ghost dragon. But I've got a few little bits and bobs put on. I've had to take the Serpent King off there that I've recently completed from the fantasy set. I've done a few of the little bits on the fantasy set, but not many. But yeah, if you like what I'm doing, please like and subscribe, and hopefully I shall catch you in the next one.